How we doing? Come on. There we go. We are going live. All right. Really need some hold music for that. Come on, LinkedIn. You have a little money. You can make that happen. Hey, how you doing? I am James Ellis. I am the employer brand guy from Employer Brand Labs, which is great because I talk about employer branding. Welcome to another edition, because it's Friday, of Employer Brand Breakdown, where we break down other people's employer brands, not to be a jerk, not to be snarky or critical, but because that's how candidates absorb this information. Very often, employer branders are very focused on that deck, focused on that EVP, when ultimately it's about the expression of that EVP to candidates. What do they see? What are they absorbing? What are they learning? That is the employer brand. Remember, an employer brand is an individual's perception of what it's like to work for you, not what it says in your deck that your brand is. Okay? It's what they think it is. So we're going to pretend to be candidates and look at employer brands. And this week we're going to talk about a big company. But before we do that, quick announcements. Here, let me click a commercial. It's not really a commercial. Here we go. So I'm relaunching my newsletter. It's going to be slightly less employer brand focused, but more about how to use employer branding and talent strategy to change talent acquisition. Right? We've been having the same fights and the same conversations and the same complaints and the same arguments for years and years and decades and decades. Nothing seems to change. So we better change it. We got to make this better. Let's be fair. Nobody likes recruiting as it is. Not the hiring managers, not the recruiters who are all burnt out, and certainly not the candidates. Something has to change. So let's make change. So go down to thechangeagent.news and subscribe if you haven't. It's free. It comes every Monday, chock full of goodness. All right, cool. All right. So we're going to talk about DHL. Massive logistics company. I believe headquartered originally in Deutschland, which is sometimes referred to as Germany in our world. Well, my world anyway, because I only speak English. It's a big company. It is a really big company. And this is an opportunity to talk about a brand that someone suggested. And every once in a while, someone suggests their own brand. And I go, kudos to you for having the bravery, the cojones, the guts, the ovaries, whatever it takes to say, yes, please break down my employer brand. That's what I want you to do. I got the sense that there's a lot of pride in this brand and the work being done, and rightly so. It's a really pretty brand, but I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. What I want to do is click some buttons so I can share my screen. Where is my screen? Hello, screen. There we go. We're just going to click that. The first thing that strikes me, as probably strikes you, is this video. There's some really nice video here. This is some well shot, well put together video. It's attractive. It's interesting. Let's be fair. DHL has a unsubtle color scheme, shall I put it, that's slightly deeper yellow plus a bright red. It is bright. It is attention grabbing. I like it a lot. But that's me. That's how I roll. But it's really good. It's a good color scheme to work on corporate wise, and obviously it has that sense of safety. It has that sense of, hey, we're driving somewhere. But they're using it really interestingly. So we're about to, the video's about to loop in a second, I can tell. And it's a very long, there's the beginning of it. What we're catching is, one, people doing work and some technology, some cool robots, and robots are always cool in video, photogenic. You've got people working the line. You've got people working forklifts. You've got soon to be people driving trucks and I presume driving planes. Do they hire pilots? I'm not sure. But there's people driving trucks and delivering stuff. And at some point, this person will walk this package up to a lighthouse. Okay, that's cool. That's photogenic. That's nice. And they've got this nice treatment, this color, like this, there you go, this wipe, which removes or pushes back the background into this half-tone orange or yellow red kind of treatment. It's a really neat trick because it serves one to pause the video, focus your attention saying, of the thing you're seeing, should I be focused on the robot? No, focus on the people, which is great. You're going to see this treatment farther in, and it's a great trick to learn. I was really impressed with this. On top of all this is DHL Jobs connecting people, improving lives. Now, immediately, I'm thinking this is a very marketing team-centric employer brand. Connecting people, improving lives could be the corporate brand. DHL, we're connecting people and improving lives. Frankly, it's almost what Facebook's brand is, this idea we're connecting people, and because we're connecting people from around the world, we're improving lives. It could be FedEx's kind of tagline. It could be connecting people. It could be AT&T's tagline. It could be any of your cell phone carriers' taglines. It's very broad. And it has a clear and direct connection to their consumer corporate brand. So my initial reaction is this is a very marketing heavy brand, but we'll see how this plays out. So we scroll down, tailored job recommendations, sure. And here you can see this visual treatment, pushing the background back and giving it a color treatment. Love that. Really, really nice use of how do you connect all these visual elements together. And what's nice about this trick, and I may steal something like this, I think it's worth putting in the old toolbox, is that it allows you to say, I can use any photo, apply this treatment to it, and suddenly it's very in brand, right? Neat trick, right? Very cool. So I like it a lot. Here you have basic chunks of functions. You got frontline, office, or student graduate. Here's some picture, again, with that treatment. In a global business like ours, the opportunities are endless, so join us, work with us, grow with us, stay with us, discover the positive impact. Okay. My feeling this is a very marketing-heavy brand is being borne out here. These are very broad claims. These are not very specific. These are, hey, join us, work with us, which of course are the things I rail against, the work with us or join us or we're hiring kind of tags. They don't say anything. They don't mean anything. Even on a career site, they don't really do much. You've got a career site. I know you want me to join you. That's why it exists. There's no need to say stuff like that. So this is some very nice sounding copy, not saying much. Life and work in DHL. And I wish I could show the video. I'm going to show the video, but there's no way to show the sound, but there's no closed captioning. So I'm going to kind of talk it through a little bit. Life and work. And at this point, the video is all about delivery, people doing their work, parcels to supply chain. This is a very corporate marketing heavy brand. Hey, we're cool. These are all the reasons why I should use them to ship my packages, not necessarily why I should work there. It's not until we get to amazing customer experience. That's why I buy them and not why I work there. It's not till I get to this level of, I think it's right about here, we start to talk about, no, not yet. How we deliver, still corporate marketing, still consumer focused marketing. Here we go, one team. That is the first. Here, I'm going to pause it. You're more than halfway through this video before you say anything about the experience of working there, and all you got is one team. Again, gorgeously shot. Very nice. The voiceover is a little faux British, right? Corporate faux British. There's probably like a term for that kind of accent somewhere. And that's the thing. I'm really getting hard, hey, marketing drove this thing. This isn't talent acquisition. This wasn't an employer brand team that had a lot of connection to what they're trying to achieve in the recruiting space. This was very much about how do we put a human face on the corporate brand? Now, there's value in that, no question. Is the value to recruiting? I don't know, because this is a career site. It should be to recruiting, and I think there might be a misconnection here. So we'll finish this video up real quick. Again, guy climbing to a lighthouse. He's connecting people. Very photographic, photogenic, positive difference. Yeah, these are reasons why every company exists. This is very broad. Be a part of it. I'm not sure quite what it is. One team, time to deliver. It's not connecting to the experience. Remember, what a candidate wants, frankly, what any worker wants is to know how you're different, either in mission or the experience of working there or the reward structure. What I'm getting is a lot of mission-driven messaging. And that's not surprising. If it's driven by marketing is all focused on, hey, here's the facts on why we deliver and can guarantee delivery and, reasons why you buy. And they don't get much of a chance to talk about the purpose or the mission or the goal of the company. They don't get to talk in those big pictures very often. What happens commonly is when marketing gets a hold of the employer brand, they think of it less as the human brand. They think of it more as the mission brand, which is a miss opportunity, right? It's nice to say you have a mission, but the mission here is not exactly curing cancer. It's not exactly going to the moon for the first time. It's not exactly saving climate change, right? The mission is we're going to deliver parcels. Yes, some of those parcels may deliver medicine to people, and I love that. It may make sure that my package gets in the place it needs to go. That's great. But as a mission, it doesn't really kind of work for me. It's kind of thin. It's not strong. Again, gorgeous, but not pushing a message. Here we go down to more of what I would think of as the values or the pillars of a brand, if that's what's being expressed. We do the right thing. We're one big team. We grow together. We have great plans. If I took off the color scheme in the photos, I could be talking about all sorts of companies. This is where marketing teams don't quite get what we do. They're so focused on being so as broadly attractive as possible, they don't realize that it's quality, not quantity, that matters. They're so focused on, we do the right thing. Okay, how? Be specific. In what way? In what situations? What are you giving up to do the right thing? What does doing the right thing cost you? Make me understand what that means, other than this is a nice thing to say. We're one big team. Well, any company of more than 20 people is a big team, right? What does that mean? How does that impact me as a candidate? Our culture, our values, and the way we work ensure that everyone feels valued. First off, first and potentially last time I saw the word culture, so they're making these very nice claims, but they're so broad as they're not going to make anybody kind of make that move. Business units. Now, full points for this one. I love, given in a company where different teams are incredibly different, right? The difference between corporate logistics and post and parcel are night and day. So trying to shoehorn them into one career site is a horrible idea. Giving them separate sections and separate pages, love that. Always a good idea. Let's hear from our employees. This is, okay, I'm going to give you a second. You want to read this. There's a strong harmony among employees in the company, both between divisions and between countries, generating a friendly and positive environment for teamwork that breaks even international barriers. Office worker Gen Z. What? Wow. What? Okay, the quote is okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but not even giving this person's first name and then labeling them as Gen Z. And you'll notice when we do the look at these, they're all labeled with generations, is a little, dare I say, dehumanizing. Office worker, frontline worker. These aren't people. These are titles. Just give them a first name, for goodness sake. Give me something to say. Is that photo this person who said that? I don't know. I really don't know that. And especially since these two photos, this photo and this photo, are of the same two people. Is this stock art? I don't know. And it makes me feel uncomfortable. And it really undercuts the value of these quotes. Some of these are nice. But I see the value of saying, hey, since we are appealing to wide ranges of audiences from different groups, since most of our new hires are coming from Gen Y and Gen Z, right? These are younger generations coming into the workforce. I get the value of kind of targeting it, but it feels weird. It feels like it's an interesting idea that's not quite doing what it's supposed to do. And then my favorite, frontline worker baby boomers. Baby boomer, right? I don't know. Look, I'm not a copy editor. Do not ask me to copy edit. But the quote, I was with DHL for 25 years, and it's with a heavy heart that I have to leave the company soon. I love the thinking, and I can imagine myself being in that room, and they say, okay, well, we're going to have a quote from Gen Y and a quote from Gen Z and a quote from Gen X, and we can't forget the baby boomers. That would be exclusionary, but we don't have many baby boomers left because they're aging out of the workforce. Well, I guess we have to have this quote about how they're leaving the workforce. Okay. I get the compromises that happen in this. It just strikes me as, interesting, and not necessarily in the best way. The intentions are right. I love the intentions. It's just not, it's not hitting the notes they want to be hitting. And then we have locations, always good to show breadth of scope, what's going on. Love that. Glassdoor reviews. And hey, for a company this size, a 3.9, I mean, that's pretty impressive. And if I go to reviews, yeah, they're good reviews. They're bad reviews. There's some pretty atrocious ones, but companies of any size always have an atrocious one. You can always count on that. Interesting to choose only 4-star reviews. I feel like that was a choice. I mean, obviously it had to be a choice. I just don't know what they were thinking. EEO is the law in screaming red text. The only place you have red text. It seems strange. Great color scheme, but it does disconnect. So it's really interesting how it starts strong and it doesn't get where I want it to go. It doesn't tell me the story I need it to tell me as a candidate. So let's jump in. Let's look at a frontline role. And frontline, your future delivered. All right, see, that could be, I mean, that's very corporate consumer leaning. It's not about you're going to grow this way or this is how you benefit. It's your future, which, okay. But we're going to talk about delivery. So here, your future's delivered. It's attractive. It's nice. It's great copywriting. Is it telling me something? And I don't know that it is much. So here we have frontline workers. And frankly, when you have roles like this where you're going to hire, I mean, how many delivery drivers DHL hiring in a given week, right? Dozens probably. So building pages and really talking about the role itself rather than lean on the job posting. Love that. Full points for that. Let's dive into one real quick. So let's look at delivery drivers. And we jump straight into jobs in America. And we can see jobs. And I'll click on this one at Midway Airport. What makes DHL great are people. We know each employee's individual contributions make us the #1 express delivery and logistics company in the world. Again, marketing is all over this thing. Any chance that they can say it's not about why you should work here, but about why we're the best company, it's employer brand very often loses the plot here when it focuses on how they're great and not about when it's talking to a candidate about what they can get. That is where really the human brand turns into a effective employer brand. When you talk about this is what you're going to get, this is why you should choose, this is the impact to you, this is what you're going to experience. I don't get any of that. I get why DHL is great. And I'm not going to quibble. I'm sure it's a great company, but it's not telling me why. Are people capitalized, I'm not sure why. Leaning on your people is always the biggest red flag to me. If you can't find another reason to say why you're a great company other than we have great people, it says to me we couldn't think of anything else or we couldn't find anything else, and that's what's left, right? The Army will say they have great people, and not a lot of those people are choosing to be in the Army. A lot of people, that was their choice. There was company of last resort, right? It's not a compelling reason. And really, hey, you're going to individual contributions aren't going to grow you. It's not going to make you feel good. It's not going to reward you. It's going to make the company the #1 in the world. See where the miss is? Minor changes would really kind of turn the key here, would really turn this brand on more effectively. Let's go back. Let's take a look at a non-frontline worker. Let's look at an office role in your future delivered. Now, if you're going to have a page for office and frontline, take advantage of that and use that tagline to tailor it to what those roles are. These are office roles. They're not delivering things. It makes sense on the front lines. Those people are legitimately and directly delivering things. These people are in the background. These people are in the headquarters or doing the tech or the IT or whatever. They're behind the scenes. They're not doing the delivery. So I think there could have been a chance to change that tagline a little bit. It's a quibble. Here we are. Again, just stupid loving this stupid color treatment and how they're laying this out. Really nicely done. Let's jump into data science because everybody loves a data science person these days. And they do the right thing here. They make a custom landing page just for this incredibly hard to hire, incredibly expensive audience to reach. Custom page. Great. Love it. Okay. We employ 500,000 people around the world across postal services, international, blah, blah, blah. We believe that our data is the key to unlocking untapped potential in our company. Again, it's all about the company. And that to me is there's this real mission focus. It's not about you're going to benefit. It's that you're going to join something that is benefiting. And I guess you will do it at the same time. There's a lot of mission language here. You're going to grow the company. We're the #1 company. You're going to you're going to serve this larger idea of the company, not we're going to cure cancer, but of the company becoming the biggest company in logistics. The challenge with mission-driven language is it's a little bit like sugar, right? It tastes good for a second, right? It makes you feel good for a second. And then you get that sugar shock of like, I'm so sick of sugar. It's not fulfilling me. It's not nutritional. It's not useful. It tastes good in the second. That bite of cake tastes amazing in the second, but 20 minutes later, you're like, why did I eat that cake? Mission language, unless your company is actually achieving a clear mission like that, where it is curing cancer or going to the moon for the first time or whatever, mission language has this baggage that comes with it. And that is when you talk too much about a mission and you're a corporate for-profit entity, the language of missions kind of suggests that the mission is how we reward you, right? It's kind of like service is its own reward. I mean, I guess there's a paycheck too, but let's not talk about it. It's kind of like joining a nonprofit. No one joins a nonprofit to be rich. They join a nonprofit to serve a mission. They're serving a goal, which is great. But in a corporate space for you're talking about a large for-profit company, it feels like I'm serving this company, but I don't know what I'm getting back in return. The mission is clear, but the reward is not. And they need to kind of fulfill that kind of conversation. Yeah, serve a company that's growing and that makes you feel good, and maybe there's some status involved, and hopefully the salaries are concurrent with that kind of growth. Sure, you got to say it. You got to talk about it. You can't assume it. And this is, again, where marketing seems to lean really hard is sell, 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 say good things, but not talk about the rest of the conversation. Really nice site, what we do, how we work, data science. Actually, I'm going to say something. How we work. I wouldn't have leaned with diversity. It's interesting choice that they do, though I'm now realizing, no, it's not alphabetical. It's not quite. How we work is, what's the experience? Are we collaborative? Are we an individual? Are we competitive? Do we all work from home? Do we all show up in the office? Do we all wear matching outfits? What is the experience of how we work? And you're really not talking about that much here. You're talking about external collaborations and diversity. That's not answering the question. Continuous learning, okay, that's where you start to answer some of that questions, but then you jump over to corporate data lake. How we work is we have a lot of data. It's asking a question and not answering it. And that those open-ended, those gaps create tension without resolution. And that makes people uneasy. It makes people feel uncertain. I love that they're listing projects. You've got to talk about the projects you're working on. I think that's great. Interesting quibble. So you've got these two quotes. Here's Severin, who talks about, I enjoy working in the data analytics center because of the vast range of interesting topics. Then you've got Henning, who talks about delivering millions of letters, parcels, and shipments of all sizes to customers requires an enormous amount of decisions to be made. So the brand is very much, we're serving and making this big idea, we're making this big company. The quote at the top should have been this one, to talk about scale. We're delivering millions of letters and parcels. Severin is not supporting that part of the brand. It feels like it's supporting a different part of the brand. And at this level, you want not consistency, but certainly alignment. And if I don't understand how, hey, wide variety of projects serves this mission, I don't understand what it's doing there. It feels misplaced. And so to me, I just kind of flip those quotes a bit. You want to make sure you're always serving the core idea. And that's the thing I've always learned, is that when you're building content like this, you have to be laser focused. If I can get someone on this page, I need them to be able to walk away with one idea in their head. What is that idea? When you're building the brief for each of these pages, that should be at the top of the brief. Goal, make them think DHL is A or B or C. That's it, right? Everything else supports that goal. And I'm seeing a lot of and this is pretty common in employer brand work, cobbling together and throwing a lot of good things in and not having that laser focus. So there's really good stuff here. It's just interestingly framed in terms of mission. And I find that to be interesting. It's a gorgeous site. I want to just give a tiny little hand clap to whoever put this together. It's really impressively laid out. It's just not, for me, fulfilling the promise I wanted to fill. I wanted to tell me a stronger story as to why I join you, and I'm not getting a compelling reason. It's really about, in a business like ours, stay with us, discover the positive impacts you can kind of make. It is nice things to say, but not clear, not concrete, not credible per se, languages and ideas about why I should work there. And that to me is unfortunate, because with a gorgeous site like this, I want to see it just punch me in the face with why I choose this company over FedEx and UPS and any number of other logistics type companies, right? It's a tight market. You could be hiring a lot of different people. People who you're hiring have a lot of choices. This is putting a really nice wrapper and some really nice language on something, but the box itself feels a little hollow, feels a little light. It doesn't feel completely packed. And I'm not doing that as a delivery logistics pun. It just doesn't feel complete. And I want it to finish it's asking questions. It's setting me up for some really interesting brand information. It's just not, I'm about to say it. It's just not delivering. And I didn't mean to say that. I apologize for the pun. All right. So that's our breakdown of DHL. Like I said, to sum up, gorgeous site, really nicely done, really well put together, a lot of creative work there. It's just not creating as compelling an argument as to why someone should choose DHL over other companies. And that is where if it's me, that is where I would want it to go. How do you not reinvent itself, but just how do you insert those reasons and those answers throughout everything you're doing? You've got a good platform. Just go ahead and make sure you're using it completely. All right. Thanks so much for watching. If you've got an idea of another brand you want me to take a look at, let me know. Happy to do it. I'd love to hear, your thoughts on what you'd like me to look at. Otherwise, I'll pick something and you just have to decide to not watch if you don't want to. Remember, I have this newsletter, thechangeagent.news. Go subscribe. Would love for you to be a part of it. I'm trying to grow it to get as many TA leaders and TA professionals who really need and want the industry to change and are ready to make that change happen. So thanks so much for being here, and I will see you all next week. Have a great weekend.